Hello, good listeners. Welcome to Tales from the Mennonite Heritage Archives, where we talk about people, places, and events from Mennonite history. I'm your host, Dan Dyck. 2025 is a big year for Mennonites globally. It marks 500 years of Anabaptist Christian faith, stemming from the first adult baptisms in Europe in 1525. It's also a big milestone in parts of southern Manitoba. It marks 150 years since mass migrations of Mennonite settlers from Imperial Russia to the reserve land Canada set aside for them west of the Red River. One community that will be celebrating 150 years is Reinland, Manitoba. From July 18th to the 20th this summer, 2025, the village will host guests and visitors near and far as they refresh family and friend connections that span generations. To get the word from the ground, I spoke with Lyle Thiessen, spokesman for the Reinland-Rosengart Homecoming 150. What follows is a collaborative effort with Lyle to highlight a bit of the Rhineland and Rosengart history and the community's upcoming celebrations. I've drawn most of what I'm about to share from the excellent book titled Rhineland, An Experience in Community. It's a book that's held at the Mennonite Heritage Archives. It was published by the Rhineland Centennial Committee in 1976. The edition I used also has a short supplement at the back of the book that updates readers to about the year 2000. For listeners not familiar with the Rhineland-Rosengart area, the villages are located in what historians often call the West Reserve, over 500,000 acres set aside for Mennonite newcomers in the early 1870s. But when the settlers first began establishing themselves after their arrival in 1875, the entire West Reserve was more commonly referred to as the Rhineland Mennonite Colony. The village of Rhineland soon became an early and important trade and service hub for the region, partly because it was situated on a major transportation route that paralleled the Canada-U.S. border. Traditionally, the naming of Mennonite communities in Manitoba follows the long-established pattern of naming their new settlements after the places they came from. Manitoba place names like Steinbach and Rosenort reflect the names of villages the settlers originally came from in Imperial Russia, and from places before that. But Rhineland appears to have a looser connection to that tradition. While most of the newcomers to the Rhineland-Rosengart area had migrated from the old world colonies of Khortytsa and Fürstenland in Imperial Russia, none came from Rhineland, a place name in West Prussia. However, Peter Wientz, an early Rhinelander, was on the executive committee of organizers acting on behalf of the new settlers. He was born near the European village of Rhineland, which is in present-day Poland. Even though he only lived in Imperial Russia for 20 years, Wientz is said to have had strong ties and interest in his homeland, so it seems likely he influenced the naming of Rhineland. Isaac Mueller, an influential administrator and civic leader, would be known today as Reeve of the municipality. In 1878, Mueller began organizing the installation of visibility posts to help travelers navigate the trail between Emerson and the Pembina Hills in blizzards. What became known as the Post Road passed right through Rhineland. I spoke with Lyle on the phone, and he shared a bit about the Post Road's importance and its east-west route through southern Manitoba, 1 mile north of the Canada-U.S. border.
Way back, we thought it was called Post Road because the mail route maybe came along there, but we learned no, it had posts along it to identify where the road actually was. It goes east from the village of Rosengart, like a mile from the border towards Gretna, but then it does wind through Rhineland. The posts apparently were along what we now call Mile 1, north of the border, between Rosengart and Gretna.
Now, Lyle mentions Gretna twice in that clip, which alludes to a bigger story. For many in southern Manitoba, Gretna is known as the home of a historically important Mennonite school. It was founded in 1889, but what history sometimes overlooks is that the humble beginnings of Mennonite Collegiate Institute began with discussions in Rhineland. MCI, as it is more commonly known today, is, quote, the longest serving of some 30 Mennonite schools, the oldest of all Mennonite schools in Canada, according to its website. In my conversation with Lyle, he mentioned an influential person in the church history of Rhineland and Rosengart.
Maybe one of the most historical notes would be that one of the early bishops, Johann Wiebe, is buried in the cemetery here in Rosengart. And there's a bit of a memorial stone that some people set up a number of years ago now already.
Bishop Johann Wiebe was an influential church leader who settled in the area in 1875. Before arriving in Canada, he had already been ordained as a minister in 1865 and became a church elder in the Fürstenland colony in 1870. Bishop Wiebe presided over several years of tensions among community members who had different understandings of traditional faith principles and practices in the church. Rhineland is home to the oldest Mennonite church in Western Canada, which was built in 1876. Lyle brought me up to date on the old church building and how it serves the community today.
That's now our community center, yeah. Many family gatherings happen there. Some smaller church congregations sometimes rent it for their use. It's a gathering place for the community when there's things like community wiener roasts happening or some kind of a musical group come to play there. It has a kitchen attached, and it's just a facility that has some place for people to gather and some outdoor sport facility for young people, that kind of thing. Ice rink, bit of a grass area for playing sports.
In that clip, Lyle mentions the hockey rink and a grassed area for playing sports at the community center, which prompts a fun little sports story. In the 1930s, teacher John W. Dreger was a pivotal figure in establishing a strong ball-playing tradition in the Rhineland area. He took his team out for games with other teams in the surrounding communities. As the story goes, Mr. Dreger packed his entire softball team into his 1926 Chevy and headed out for a game against a grade 7 and 8 team in Winkler. The Rhineland players were apprehensive when they saw the big Winkler boys. The Winkler boys, on the other hand, were flabbergasted to see that the Rhineland players were an all-girls team. However, Mr. Dreger's coaching and steady voice of encouragement led the all-girls team to a glorious victory that remains a legacy in Rhineland sport history. Rhineland is also home to the historic Ents Heritage House Barn, which was designated as a historic building by the municipality in 2008. House barns are becoming ever more rare in Western Canada. The Ents House Barn in Rhineland still opens up to the public for visits and tours. Lyle explains the house barn concept.
Well, I would describe a house barn as being a fairly simple structure, but very functional, in that the barn that housed the animals was attached to the house. Your feed and your bedding was often in the hayloft or in the lean-to. You didn't have to go outside as much. They would also have what they call a summer kitchen or a sommerkirk attached to the house, which was kind of a smaller building that had a hallway attaching to the back of the house where they would do their summer cooking and canning, that kind of stuff. So it was laid out in a functional way that suited all the things that needed to happen of the time.
Like many Mennonite communities in southern Manitoba, Rhineland's linguistic history is rooted in the Low German language. It's said that traveling merchants, salesmen, and peddlers learned Low German, which for generations was the local trade language. The community's 100th anniversary book, published in 1976, states, "It was assumed at practically every event that everybody was trilingual." Will this state of affairs still exist in the year 2000? In the 1990s and later, the community developed a reputation for its plays and dramas in the Low German language. Low German drama productions will be just one of the many entertainments and activities planned for this summer's Reinland-Rosengart Homecoming 150.
Yeah, so Friday night is there's going to be a Wiener Roast supper. Saturday morning, the parade starts the day off. In the afternoon Saturday, there's going to be all sorts of kids' carnival, bouncy castles kind of stuff for the kids, some stage entertainment. I think there's going to be a Low German play that's being planned, some stage entertainment Saturday night, along with fireworks to end off the evening. And then Sunday morning, there's going to be a worship service and another lunch. The Ents Heritage Homestead is also going to be open for touring. There will be plenty of time in between planned events for visiting and that kind of thing. But it's planned to be an exciting couple of days.
The histories of Rhineland and Rosengart are drenched in stories of faith and community spirit. And that, says Lyle, is what their celebrations are all about.
Well, Rhineland has always been a community that really liked to get together. Community was fostered there and built, which has really been a key piece to it being where it is today. And so the area has benefited by having that sense of community even from earlier on. That's really what still drives some of the events like this 150 homecoming. We did a similar type of celebration 10 years ago for 140 years. The act of getting together, having people come together.
Lyle extends a warm invitation to come and take in the Rhineland-Rosengart Homecoming.
Well, July is a great time to do some traveling if you're from a little further away. We've got an exciting time planned of good entertainment, good food, good hospitality, and we'd love to see everyone that has any connection to the area or not come out and visit and see what we've got going on here.
Thanks to Lyle Thiessen for chatting with me, as well as the folks who put so much work into the community's amazing centennial book published in 1976. It's held at the MHA. Many volunteers will be working hard on the Rhineland-Rosengart Homecoming 150. The Tales team sends you all best wishes for a wonderful event. To see photos related to this episode or listen to this episode again, visit mharchives.ca. As always, we're happy to receive your comments and questions about this program via email to info@mharchives.ca.
Hello, I'm Conrad Stace, the archivist at the Mennonite Heritage Archives. Your donations help preserve and share stories like the one you just heard. To send a gift, visit our website at mharchives.ca and click on Support, or give us a call at 204-560-1998. Thanks also to our partners, Canadian Mennonite University, the Centre for Transnational Mennonite Studies, Mennonite Church Canada, and Golden West Radio.
In an upcoming episode, we'll hear from organizers of another 150-year community celebration, this one from Courtice, a village just southwest of Winkler, Manitoba. Thanks to the Tales team of Conrad Stace, Gray Mudra, and Kaylee Dyck for their work on the program. I'm your host, Dan Dyck. Tales from the Mennonite Heritage Archives will be back soon with more stories about people, places, and events from Mennonite history. Thanks for listening.